Starsmiley is a speedrunner of Omori, as well as an admin on the OMORI Discord and the OMORI subreddit, and much more. Hi, Starsmiley.
Hi, ITR.
How were you first introduced to OMORI?
There was a person, I won't really go into detail into him, but he asked me if I was interested in playing the demo back in 2018, and he sent me a copy. He actually was interested to see if I wanted to be interested in speedrunning it at first, but I actually got into the game as a whole outside of speedrunning.
What is your favorite moment in the game?
That's very difficult. The most memorable moment was obviously going through the truth section and just slowly realizing what had happened. It was a very memorable and very emotional moment. Gameplay-wise, I really like the junkyard. I like going through the junkyard. I like all the colors. I like the music. I like the interactions. It's very fun.
You're an admin on both the OMORI Discord and the subreddits. What's that like?
It can be very painful at times. There's a lot of things you need to look out for that you necessarily wouldn't think of on top of your head. And there's a lot of different ways you need to keep people safe and comfortable, while at the time not intermingling with everyone else's comfort and safety. And it can be very tiring at times, but I think it's overall worth it for people to have that safe and comfortable experience in the community.
What do you think about the events held on the OMORI Discord?
I think I will say a lot of them, they were rushed a little bit. And I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, but we didn't really have a lot of time to test it out or go through, give feedback and do everything regarding that. But overall, I think they turned out mostly fun. I think the only bad thing was, I think that Superstar event where you randomly get a role that says you're a superstar and you get access to a secret channel that ended badly. But otherwise, most events are pretty fun.
After the full game came out, you played through OMORI 3 times before you started speedrunning it. Do you remember which routes you played?
I played the true route first, obviously. Then I played the Hikikomori route like a billion times. Both because it was obviously faster for the speed route and because there were so many extra secrets with Black Space 2 and the hidden warps. And there was just so much stuff to discover that I played that quite a few times.
What's the coolest part of OMORI speedruns?
Oh gosh, let's see. The wrong warping is pretty cool. It's basically using there is a touchscreen glitch that you can use to basically move yourself out of the picnic while you're in it, like one of those picnic sequences where you're talking with Mario and everyone, and you can just kind of move yourself off the screen. If you use the mailbox while doing it and then move to Pluto's warp pad, you can just access any area into the game. Before Space Boyfriend, you can already access Snow Globe Mountain, even though you may not be doing that route. And I think it's very interesting.
What was the process of getting OMORI accepted at Summer Games Done Quick like?
The process is pretty simple overall. Before we submitted the run, we actually emailed the charity to make sure that they would actually accept the game because of how much self-harm and graphic imagery there might be. They said that we might have to pull it over, but put a graphic over it while it's happening. But overall, we just decided to announce trigger warnings before it would happen in the run. So after that, you could make a submission video or you could just throw in any random run. I made a submission video detailing the entire run. Then you just submit it on the site, you describe what the run is like, and then you submit it. After that, when I got accepted, I actually I wrote a several page document on all the strategies and gameplay mechanics of the run in order for the host to actually know what I was talking about during the run. But yeah, that was basically it. I didn't get a choice as far as it being in 4 in the morning. Trust me, I would not have put it at 4 in the morning.
What was it like to be acknowledged by Omocat during the Summer Games Done Quick run?
It was a very incredible moment. Omocat is probably my favorite creator of all time, and seeing them acknowledge me, the other runners, and the effort we put into this game and how much we appreciate and love that game is phenomenal.
Do you think OMORI will appear on Games Done Quick again?
I hope so. We actually submitted it this year as well. Kyoshi, Kyoshi, submitted it. That involves brand new strategies. He also added a bunch of new categories, so hopefully one of them gets accepted.
Are you ever going to speedrun any OMORI mods other than Reverie?
There are a few mods that are currently out that I haven't played yet that I want to look into, and I might speedrun them, such as Hero's Fever Dream. But I'd have to see what mods like are in the future, because a lot of them currently, they're not really speedrun. Like Autumn Break, it's a great mod, don't get me wrong, but all of it is really text-based, so it's very difficult to speedrun that. Or some of them are just minor modifications to the game that don't really require you to speedrun it. So we'll have to see how mods in the future are before I'd consider it.
What's your favorite OMORI bug or secret?
Let me think a second. There's a lot of them, Jesus Christ. I think my favorite one is more due to personal experience, and because I was the first one who found it and got it officially recognized in the community. It was about 2 a.m. I was in a voice call with a bunch of people showing off the game, because we were just breaking open the Hikikomori route and all the secrets. And I decided to run into the toast in the red maze room. And then we found out very quickly that it changes its form twice when you do that. And it was, again, it was 2 a.m. It was very startling.
Nice. How much OMORI merch do you have?
Let me see around my room. I have a poster. I have one of the calendar pieces. I brought, my friend gave me $750 to buy her the entire poster set for her. So I did buy all of those, but I ended up giving back to her. I have the calendar. I have the Mio plush. I have the big 3-foot-something plush. I have OMORI and Mari plushes. I have a Sprout Mold plush. I did have an air freshener, but I got stolen out of my car. There's this acrylic stand that they have. I have that, and I'm waiting on the remaining plushes of Kel, Aubrey, Hero, and Basil. And I have the artwork and walkthrough as well. I forgot about that since I just got that.
Was that all?
I have the photos, all the photos that they sold. And I guess something noteworthy that I have is not many people have. At conventions, they give out a piece of paper, like a small little poster with OMORI on it. So I have that as well. It's only given at conventions. You cannot buy it anywhere.
Yeah, no, you already answered my next question, which was going to be, did you ever get back your OMORI air freshener?
I didn't. It got stolen out of my car, and I keep begging Omocat to put it back up on the store so I can buy it, but I feel like I'm one of the few people that actually want it.
How did you first learn about speedrunning?
I believe it was 2015. I actually got really into Paper Mario recently, and I was watching the 1,000-Year Door private playthroughs and stuff, and suddenly on my recommended, a Games Done Quick run of the 1,000-Year Door came up, and I got really into it. And then a few months later, as I'm still watching these runs, Undertale released, and I was like, okay, that's the perfect game for me, since it's not very resource intensive. A potato can run it, and it was very easy to run at the time. There were no glitches or tricks or anything. So I got into speedrunning that, and then it just kind of went from there.
Where is your mind at when you speedrun?
It depends if I'm streaming while running or if I'm just doing it on my own. I usually stream, so it's usually just on the game and on the chat. But if I'm by myself, I'm obviously focusing on the game, but I might just be thinking about whatever's going on in my life or any other situation that might be going on Discord.
What was it like being part of the speedrun.com staff and then later the ELO staff through that?
That's a very good question. It's very interesting. The shift was quite interesting because a lot of the staff that was part of the original set were obviously not there anymore. There was only one person that went with me. And so the old site was ran just by a group of volunteers, no one was being paid. So when it switched to a company starting paying us, the view kind of shifted on that. And as such, views shifted on the staff, me and the other person that switched. So it's been interesting to say the least.
Are you ever going to reclaim your world record in Beastly Tale?
I should. It's been a long time. It was made by an old friend. He disappeared a while ago. But, yeah, I should. There's quite a few interesting categories on there.
What do you think about Celeste?
Celeste is a very great game. I hated Chapter 4 with a passion. I hated the win mechanics. But overall, I thought it was a very good game. Also, turns rights.
Do you think you'll try to speedrun Celeste?
I actually did once. I think I briefly held the world record in one category. There was a version change on their leaderboard when a new version came out. And as such, I'm pretty sure I briefly held the world record in that category.
What do you think about the game design of OFF?
OFF is a very interesting game. It has a really interesting story, and the gameplay mechanic you don't really see much anywhere else, like the quick time events in the actual battle. You don't normally see that. It is very fun to play through. It can be a bit frustrating and slow at times due to that quick time event. And I like that they slowly add more difficulty as you go on, along with adding your companions. I like the areas a lot, and I like how they go down from 5. I think it's 5 to 0, and it's an overall interesting game. As far as glitches go, I think there's only one that's used for speedruns. You can go into a wall at some point and skip a minute or so. So it's not really broken in any way, which is unfortunate for us.
Do you think there's any parallels between OFF and Undertale?
I don't know if you know this, I wrote an essay on that at one point. There are so many parallels that I'm pretty sure that OFF was the main inspiration over Earthbound. Because, like, if you think about it, D-Don, one of the bosses in OFF, Papyrus was based on him. The main battle theme, Pepper Steak, was used for Napstabloot's theme. And one of the main characters is literally two brothers when one that you kill halfway through, and then the other comes back as a final boss to get revenge. There's 5 areas. There is a lot of parallels, I think.
Do you think Silksong will come out this year?
God, I hope so. Even if just to prevent what happened last time when OMORI got announced and everyone from Silksong came in here and just started shouting at us.
What do you think about analog horror?
I love analog horror. I have to watch like video essays on them, like people describing it, because I get too scared. I get scared very easily. But overall, I think it's very fun and creative what they do with it. I like, especially the Mandela catalog, which I think has a lot of parallels to OMORI, actually.
Do you have any favorite analog horror video essayists?
There's a lot of creators out there. Inside of Mine and Night Minds have a lot of good videos that go in depth on ARGs in general and analog horror.
What's Starsnooket?
That was a few years ago. I think my friend jokingly called me that, and so I created an alt account on Twitch for that. And it's just been my alt account ever since in order to like do alternative streams, which I haven't really used, but it is there.
I do think that it's currently not there, actually.
Did they remove it?
I do think so, yes.
They removed my account?
If you click the link to it, it says something about needing a time machine.
I can't believe this. Hold on. They removed my account? I can't believe this. I can't believe I had to learn it through this. No, I finished checking. The time machine's not there. I'll have to see if I can log in later.
What's Moonfrowny?
That's just like a play on my name, like Starsmiley, so the opposite of star is moon. At least to most people, like I thought that was logical, but a lot of people take different words. And then same with Frowny, the opposite of Smiley is Frowny, so we used that and we just stuck them together. I think it originally came from a donation from a friend of mine a few years ago. He just added it into the message and it's kind of stuck.
What's the name of this song?
God, I hate this fucking community. It's a white space, specifically track 96. I remember it.
And where do you hear this song?
You hear this song. It's after a specific segment. I think it's after the Sweetheart segment specifically, because it's not the one before that, and it's not after Jocelyn, or I mean Humphrey, because you just go straight to Black's Place. So it has to be the one after Sweetheart.
You're sure it's not played in Omori's version of Black Space?
Yes, I am sure it is not in Black Space.
Very well, very well. How is this game going?
I don't even know how you found it. Not very well. I cry when I program, and I'm having, even with something as simple as RPG Maker, I'm having a hard time. And I've been trying to teach myself some basic pixel art. That's not going well either. But I can at least write.
What was the idea behind the game?
So the basic idea was that two friends would go up a mountain and then they would slide off of it. But you would play the game over and over again. Something like there would be enemies, obviously, you'd play, and every time you died in that fight, a skeleton or something would appear there to indicate that you had died there. And you could just see that over and over again until it gets progressively worse, until maybe something big happens. That's the general idea.
That was all my questions. Do you have any final words, anything you want to shout out, anyone you want to shout out, or anything you want to call out? Anything. Anything.
I just want to say thank you very much for having me on this. It was very enjoyable, and I hope people have a better insight into the speedrunner community as a whole, and maybe even get into it.